Thank you, Jessica. So I'm gonna try to talk about all of my work without going too long. But I think I have multiple images here of the video, but before I talk about the video, I think I just want to talk about the photographs first. The first I'm gonna start with is the series over here. I know a lot of people can't see it, but it's a diptych. But altogether, to speak about my work in general, I consider myself an interdisciplinary artist because I work in so many different mediums. Also, I think I'm really nervous. I'm not good at speaking in front of people, but I really think my work is just an investment into getting to know myself better. Everything I do is very intuitive and it's in some ways impulsive, but in others really thought through. And it's a lot of symbolic things in my work, and also it's very urgent for me, always. So when I make work, I'm always in a space where I have to make it, and really quickly, or however long it takes, because process is also very important to me. So for those pieces, that was when I was beginning my college career that I created that diptych. And in that diptych, I am speaking a lot about just the feeling of being almost like a victim to the ebb and flow of life. And at the time, I entitled it Lacerations because I felt as though, as the words on my back kind of speak about, that I had created this world for myself to exist in that was very safe for me at the time. And I kind of watched it crumble apart and fall apart, and just be torn away from me. And to feel exposed is what that piece is about for me. And the words on my back are a combination of my own thoughts and also a quote by an artist who works with natural materials that speaks about the ebb and flow of a tree. And so it speaks about the tree as well as, but more in a metaphorical way, about how I was feeling about my life, especially because that tree, I go back to that tree on a regular basis, and I've always had a deep connection to trees. And every change in my life, I go there and I make work there. I have like a tattoo of it on my back. So it's really important to me. And then my other piece is back here, and that is a piece from when I studied in Italy. I was in Italy for 4 months, and I felt like that was a really important part of my life, and it really changed the way that I think about everything. And that experience changed me completely, especially in the sense that I was kind of forced to change. I was forced into a place where I was totally unfamiliar. But then I think that change converted into balance after a while, and my life became balanced in a way that I was totally not expecting and that I was not used to, and it taught me a new way of being. And in that piece, I am wearing a piece of fabric that was kind of like a diary for me. It's a 30-foot long piece of fabric that I started working on when I was in America, and then when I went to Italy, I took it with me and I used it as a diary, and I wrote on it and I manipulated it and I did all these different things to it. I put it out in the rain, I put it in the shower, I did all these things to it just to, whatever I was feeling at the time, I did that to it. So that fabric holds my story for that time in my life. So for me to wear it, it was more of a performance piece, because I do consider myself somewhat of a performance artist, although it's usually documented through video or photography. But I walked through the city in Florence wearing that almost as a garment. I climbed over a bridge with it, and I photographed myself there looking upon the Ponte Vecchio, which is a really, which means old bridge. It's like the oldest bridge in Florence, and it's a landmark for Florence. So that was almost like for me like bearing a cross. It was like bearing my cross, which is why it's called "And She Bearing Her Words." Chapter 4, verse 20. It was April 20th. So, my video. When I speak about my video, it makes me really nervous because I'm gonna go through these images as well. This piece is still new to me, so a lot of my language hasn't developed around it yet, but I know how I feel about it. And I feel extremely strongly about it because it is the most vulnerable piece that I have ever done. It is the first time that I feel, and it's a big deal that I think that I'm letting everyone see it, I guess, because it's the first time that I really put myself out there, and I think of my work as kind of mysterious in a way because it's a lot of things that I show and things that I don't show, and I can hide my secrets there, but at the same time bear everything. So this piece, I was more bearing it all than holding secrets. It was more about growth, and it was about transformation and a ritual. And in the piece, I dug a hole. It begins with, you'll see it, but it begins with me digging a hole. And after I dug the hole, I eventually get into the hole, I cover myself in dirt, I clear the space, and I begin to cut my locks one by one. That, for me, it was really important to cut them one by one and to show that entire process to the viewer because that meant that each lock was weaved with a certain level of not wanting to surrender. It was all some type of reason that each lock had for me that I was holding on to something. So every time I cut a lock, it just meant that I was letting go. So it taught me a lot about surrender. It taught me a lot about letting go. And the things that I have around me are a spirit pouch, and I've created that, and I cut up some leather and made this pouch where I could keep really precious stones and important notes to myself. Then there are also some stones that are out on a book that I have that I think I'm going to read some parts from for you today. And the book has some affirmations and different things that I needed to read to myself to reiterate my intention to myself as I was cutting my hair. And I have some sage to clear the space and some scissors. So I'm just going to go through the pictures. But I think that my intention with this video was really to root myself. I wanted to anchor myself in the ground, in the earth, because I was in a place in my life where I had a lot of things and people and circumstances around me that were no longer serving me. And in this, I wanted to, in one ritual, to be able to release all of that and also become almost like a tree. I guess that, but I didn't even think of that until just now. But I think that that's really, it's about my connection to trees. I have a deep connection to trees and the earth, and also at that time, the earth was the only thing I could turn to because water nearly drowned me and fire nearly killed me, which is a long story in itself. So I also that day photographed myself before and after I cut my hair. And that's an image that I took from inside of the whole housing. I think that's it. If you have any questions, please come to me. I'm open to talk about anything. Thank you.